Good evening, folks. Imagine this. You wake up one morning and realize you've been asleep for 200 years. Sounds like a sci-fi movie plot, doesn't it? But did you know that by the time you're 75, you've already slept for a whopping 25 years? That's right, we spend a third of our lives in the arms of Morpheus. But why? Think back. When was the last time you woke up without an alarm, feeling refreshed and energized? Or maybe you're more familiar with lying in bed, exhausted, but sleep just won't come? Have you ever experienced waking up just a minute before an important call or meeting, as if there's a super precise clock in your head? How does our body do that? Tonight, we're embarking on an amazing journey through the world of sleep. We'll uncover its mysteries and answer questions that might have been keeping you up at night for years. Why do we sleep at all? Is it possible to train yourself to sleep just 4 hours a day, like Leonardo da Vinci supposedly did? Can you really lose weight while sleeping? And why do we have nightmares after a big meal? How do our beloved gadgets affect our sleep? Could your smartphone be robbing you of shut-eye? Is it possible to control your dreams and use them to solve problems? Why do some people snore, and can it really ruin relationships? We'll also reveal some unexpected secrets, how sleep impacts your sex life, why lack of sleep can make you less attractive, and even how the quality of your sleep could affect your career growth. We'll also reveal some unexpected secrets, how sleep impacts your sex life, why lack of sleep can make you less attractive, and even how the quality of your sleep could affect your career growth. Did you know that dolphins sleep with half their brain awake? Or that platypuses have more dreams than any other animal? We'll dive into these and other mind-blowing facts about sleep in the animal kingdom. Are you ready to learn how to turn a third of your life into a powerful tool for improving the other two-thirds? Then get comfortable, but not too comfortable. We don't want you dozing off. Our fascinating journey into the world of dreams starts right now. And remember, if you do happen to nod off during our show, we'll take it as the highest compliment to our sleep experts.
When we talk about sleep, it's crucial to understand that it's not just hitting the off switch on our body. Sleep is a complex process with several stages that repeat in cycles throughout the night. First up, we've got the dozing off stage. You know that feeling when you're not quite awake but not fully asleep? Your muscles start to relax, your breathing evens out. This only lasts a few minutes. Next comes light sleep. You're officially asleep, but a loud noise could still wake you up. Your body's gearing up for the main event. Then we hit the jackpot. Deep sleep. This is where the magic happens, folks. Your body goes into repair mode, your muscles take a breather, and your immune system kicks into high gear. It's also when your body pumps out growth hormone. And no, it's not just for kids. Us adults need it too for recovery, especially after hitting the gym. Last but not least, we've got REM sleep. That's rapid eye movement. This is prime time for dreams. Your eyes are darting around under your eyelids like you're watching a tennis match. Here's the kicker. Your brain is nearly as active as when you're awake. These stages repeat in cycles about every 90 minutes. On an average night, you'll go through 4 to 6 of these cycles.
When it gets dark, these cells signal another part of the brain, the pineal gland, to start producing melatonin. You've probably heard of melatonin. It's often called the sleep hormone because it helps us nod off. But that's not the only chemical player in the sleep game. Throughout the day, a substance called adenosine builds up in our brain. The longer we're awake, the more it accumulates, and the sleepier we feel. When we sleep, adenosine levels drop. Here's a fun fact. Caffeine, our favorite pick-me-up, works by blocking adenosine receptors. That's why a cup of joe makes you feel less sleepy. But here's the catch. Adenosine keeps building up. So when the caffeine wears off, that sleepiness can come back with a vengeance. Another key player is the reticular activating system in the brainstem. It's like a switch between being awake and asleep. When it's fired up, we're awake. When it calms down, we drift off. During deep sleep, our cerebral cortex, the thinking, conscious part of our brain, takes a bit of a break. But during REM sleep, it ramps up again, which is why we have those vivid dreams. Now here's the real showstopper, a process scientists call brainwashing. During deep sleep, the space between our brain cells increases, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to circulate more freely. It's like a power wash for your brain, flushing out waste products, including a protein called beta amyloid that's linked to Alzheimer's disease when it builds up.
Wow, Dr. Johnson, you just described a full-service car wash for our brain. Let's break this down even further for our viewers. Imagine your brain is a bustling city. During the day, it's rush hour. Cars zooming around, that's signals between neurons. People hurrying to work, our thoughts and actions. Factories and offices humming, different parts of the brain doing their jobs. Then night falls. The streets quiet down, shops close up. This is our brain shifting into slow-wave sleep. But the city doesn't shut down completely. That's when the night shift kicks in. The cleaning crew, they're sweeping the streets, taking out the trash, fixing the roads. That's the brainwashing the professor mentioned. Suddenly, in some neighborhoods, things get weird. Quirky shops open up, strange characters appear, and crazy events unfold. Welcome to REM sleep, folks. It's like Mardi Gras for your brain. This cycle repeats a few times each night. The city quiets down, the cleanup crew does its thing, then the festival starts again. As morning approaches, the city gradually returns to its normal routine, and we wake up. Here's another cool tidbit. Sleep is when your brain does some serious filing. Picture your memory as a massive library. During the day, you're tossing new books onto the table. That's all your experiences and impressions. At night, the librarians come in. They sort these books onto the right shelves, connect them with books you already have, and toss out the ones you don't need. That's why sleep is so crucial for learning and memory. And get this, half of our brain can sleep while the other half stays awake. It's super rare in humans and considered a sleep disorder, but for dolphins, it's business as usual. They sleep with one hemisphere while the other keeps an eye out and controls breathing. Talk about multitasking, though I bet some workaholics out there are thinking, where do I sign up?
Holy cow! Who would have thought there was so much action going on in our noggins every night? A big thank you to our experts for breaking this down for us. It's like we've got our own little sci-fi movie playing in our heads while we catch some Z's. Now that we've got the lowdown on the anatomy of sleep, let's switch gears. We're about to dive into something that might explain why some of us are up with the roosters, while others are burning the midnight oil. That's right, folks. We're talking about our body's internal clocks, and why some of us are early birds and others are night owls. Ever wonder why your buddy Mike is bright-eyed and bushy-tailed at 5 a.m., while you can barely drag yourself out of bed for your 9 a.m. meeting? Or why your sister Sarah is most productive when the rest of the world is winding down? Stick around because we're about to unravel the mystery of our body's timetables.
Imagine you've got a special clock ticking inside you. No, not the kind that tells you it's time for lunch, but a biological clock that orchestrates your body's rhythms. Scientists call these circadian rhythms. These rhythms are like the conductor of your body's orchestra. They tell you when to hit the hay, when to rise and shine, when to chow down, and even when your body's primed for a workout. Here's the kicker. Each of us has these clocks tuned a little differently. It's like we're all living in different time zones, but in the same society. Some folks are on New York time, others on LA time, and some might as well be on Mars. Ever notice how you start feeling sluggish around the same time every day? That's your biological clock signaling your brain to release melatonin. This hormone is what makes you yawn and rub your eyes, hinting that it's time to hit the sack. Now, hold on to your hats, cause this next bit is mind-blowing. Scientists have found that our biological clocks are controlled by a group of genes. You heard that right, genes. This means your love for early mornings or late nights is partly written in your DNA, so next time your boss grumbles about you being late, you can blame your genes.
Mike did a great job explaining the science. Now, let's break down how this affects our daily lives. In psychology, we identify several chronotypes. Think of it as your personal operating schedule, set by Mother Nature. The main types are larks, owls, and hummingbirds. Larks, or early birds, are those folks who wake up with the sun, full of energy in the morning, but start to fizzle out by evening. They're at their peak in the first half of the day. Owls, on the other hand, struggle to get going in the morning, but are on fire in the evening and at night. Their brains are most active in the afternoon and evening. Hummingbirds are the in-betweeners. They adapt easily to different schedules and feel pretty consistent throughout the day. Here's the important part. None of these types is better or worse than the others. Problems start when our lifestyle doesn't match our chronotype. For instance, if you're an owl forced to wake up at 6 a.m. for work, you'll constantly feel drained and inefficient. This isn't laziness or lack of willpower. It's your biological clock resisting an unnatural rhythm. Knowing your chronotype can seriously upgrade your quality of life. You can schedule important tasks when your body is at its peak. Larks should aim for morning meetings, while owls should tackle big projects in the afternoon. But what if your chronotype clashes with work or school demands? Don't sweat it. While it's tough to completely change your type, we can tweak our biological clocks a bit.
Oh boy, do I get this problem. My husband's a typical owl and the kids are larks. I couldn't figure out why our family was always out of sync until I learned about these chronotypes. It was a real game changer. You know what we did? We had a family powwow and divvied up responsibilities based on our internal clocks. Now my husband handles bedtime routines and evening homework while I'm up early with the kids making breakfast. And let me tell you, our home is so much more peaceful now. I've also noticed that dimming the lights a couple hours before bed and using warm lighting makes falling asleep easier. We even got these fancy light bulbs that change color in the evening. The kids love it. They say it's like having a sunset inside the house. Another biggie is routine. I try to keep our sleep and wake times consistent, even on weekends. It was tough at first, especially for my owl husband, but we've all noticed we're sleeping better. Oh, and I found a great trick to help my husband wake up. I set the alarm 30 minutes before he needs to get up and turn on bright lights in the room. It helps his body realize it's time to wake up. Works way better than me shaking him and yelling, "Rise and shine, sleepyhead."
I'd like to add that understanding chronotypes can be a real asset in business, not just in your personal life. Imagine organizing your company so each employee works during their peak hours. Larks tackle morning tasks, owls handle evening work, and hummingbirds keep things steady throughout the day. Sounds like science fiction? Well, it's not. Some forward-thinking companies are already experimenting with flexible schedules that account for employees' chronotypes. And guess what? They're seeing increases in productivity and job satisfaction. Even if you can't completely overhaul your work process, knowing about chronotypes can help with planning. For example, don't schedule crucial meetings or make big decisions when you're not in your biological prime time. Here's another interesting tidbit. Studies show that owls tend to have higher IQs and are more creative, but larks are better at solving logical problems and make decisions faster. So, an ideal team should have a mix of chronotypes. And for all you managers out there, if you're a lark, don't expect all your employees to be firing on all cylinders at 8 a.m. And if you're an owl, don't be surprised if some team members are running out of steam by evening. Factor in these differences, and your team will be more effective.
Well, I'll be darned. Who would have thought that understanding our internal clocks could have such a big impact on our lives? From family harmony to business success. Now I know why it's such a struggle for me to get up in the morning. I must be an owl. What about you, dear viewers? Which chronotype do you think you are? Chew on that for a bit while we move on to our next topic. Coming up, we're diving into the mysterious world of dreams. Stay tuned, folks. All right, folks, we're diving into perhaps the most mysterious part of our sleep talk. Dreams. Those weird, sometimes scary, sometimes inspiring stories our brain tells us every night. What do they mean? Why do we have them? And can we harness their power in our daily lives? Let's find out.
Dreams have fascinated people since ancient times. Our ancestors thought they were messages from the gods or omens of the future. Today, we know dreams are a product of our brain's activity, but that doesn't make them any less intriguing. There are several theories about why we dream. One of the most famous is Sigmund Freud's theory. He believed dreams were the royal road to the unconscious, revealing our repressed desires and fears. Another well-known psychologist, Carl Jung, took this idea further. He thought dreams not only reflect our personal unconscious, but also tap into what he called the collective unconscious, a kind of shared human database of archetypes and symbols. Modern research offers different explanations. For instance, the activation synthesis theory suggests dreams are just the result of random neuron firing during REM sleep. Our brain tries to make sense of these random signals by creating a story. Another theory proposes that dreams help us process and consolidate information from the day. This explains why we often dream about elements from our recent experiences. Whatever the true reason for dreams, they can be a powerful tool for self-discovery. By analyzing our dreams, we can better understand our fears, desires, and problems. For example, frequent dreams about falling might indicate a feeling of losing control in some area of life. However, it's important to remember that dream interpretation isn't an exact science. The same symbol can have different meanings for different people. So when analyzing your dreams, it's crucial to consider your personal context and associations.
Dr. Goodwin explained the psychological aspects of dreams beautifully. Now, let's look at them from a neurobiological perspective. Dreams primarily occur during REM sleep, or rapid eye movement sleep. During this phase, our brain is almost as active as when we're awake. But there's one key difference. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for logical thinking and planning, is less active. That's why our dreams often seem illogical and bizarre. Interestingly, during REM sleep, the areas of the brain associated with emotions and memory become more active. This might explain why our dreams are often emotionally charged and contain elements from our past experiences. Recent studies have shown that dreams may play a crucial role in processing emotional experiences. During sleep, the brain replays emotionally significant events, helping us cope with them. This explains why we often feel emotional relief after a good night's sleep. Here's another fascinating fact. Our brain can solve problems while we're asleep. There are documented cases of scientists finding solutions to complex problems during sleep. For instance, Dmitry Mendeleev reportedly saw the periodic table in a dream. This suggests that our brain continues to work on important tasks, even when we're snoozing. As for recurring nightmares, they can be linked to post-traumatic stress disorder or other psychological issues. In such cases, it's important to consult a specialist.
All this sounds really interesting and scientific. But you know what I've noticed from my own experience? Our dreams often reflect what's happening in our lives, just in a symbolic form. For example, when I was pregnant, I often dreamed of fruits and flowers, symbols of fertility and new life. And when I was going through a tough time at work, I dreamed I was wandering in a maze. I started keeping a dream journal, and it turned out to be super helpful. By writing down my dreams, I began to understand my emotions and problems better. Sometimes the solution to a problem would come to me in a dream. I've also noticed something interesting. If I think about a problem before bed and ask my brain to find a solution, I often wake up with new ideas. It's like I'm giving my subconscious an assignment, and it works on it while I sleep. And you know what else is fascinating? Our dreams can affect our mood for the whole day. If I have a good dream, I wake up in a great mood. But after a nightmare, it can be hard to shake off the feeling. So I try to create a calm atmosphere before bed. It helps me have more pleasant dreams.
Absolutely mind-blowing. Who would have thought our dreams could be such a powerful tool for self-discovery and even problem-solving? I'm definitely going to pay more attention to my dreams from now on. How about you, dear viewers? Maybe it's time to start that dream journal? Who knows what amazing discoveries you might make? Now, as we wrap up this dreamy discussion, let's move on to our next topic. We're going to explore how modern technology is affecting our sleep. Are our beloved gadgets secretly sabotaging our shut-eye? Stay tuned to find out. All right, folks, we're about to dive into a topic that's sure to pique your interest. We're talking about the connection between sleep and a very important aspect of our personal lives. Well, I'll be darned, who would have thought that sleep and sex were so closely connected? Now we know why they say sex is the best sleeping pill. But, as we've learned, it's all much more complex and interesting than that. Thanks to our experts for such an open and helpful conversation.
Sleep affects many aspects of our health in ways that might surprise you, and it all starts with how our brain regulates various bodily functions. The link between sleep and sexual health runs deeper than most people realize. For starters, both sleep and sex are regulated by the same parts of the brain and hormones. Take testosterone, for example. It's not just responsible for libido, it also plays a crucial role in regulating our sleep-wake cycle. In men, testosterone levels peak early in the morning, which explains why many guys wake up feeling frisky. Interestingly, chronic sleep deprivation can lead to lower testosterone levels. Studies show that men who sleep less than 5 hours a night have 10 to 15% lower testosterone levels than those who get enough shut-eye. This can affect not just libido, but overall well-being. For women, it's a bit more complex due to the menstrual cycle, but there are fascinating patterns here too. For instance, many women report better sleep quality during ovulation. Another key point is the connection between sleep quality and erectile function in men. Erections occur during REM sleep. If a man isn't reaching this sleep stage or it's disrupted, it could lead to erectile issues.
To add a few words about the psychological aspects of this intriguing connection, stress and anxiety are factors that negatively impact both sleep and sexual desire. When we're constantly on edge, our bodies produce the stress hormone cortisol. High cortisol levels can lower libido and worsen sleep quality. On the flip side, regular sexual activity can help reduce stress levels and improve sleep. During orgasm, our bodies release oxytocin, a hormone that helps us relax and promote sleep. It's interesting to note that sexual dreams are completely normal, especially in adolescence and early adulthood. They don't necessarily reflect our secret desires, as Freud thought, but can be linked to hormonal changes and natural physiological processes. Another important aspect is how relationships affect sleep. People who sleep with a partner often report better sleep quality. This is related to the sense of safety and comfort we feel next to a loved one.
I'd like to add a few practical tips on how to improve both sleep and your personal life simultaneously. First off, regular exercise. Moderate physical activity not only improves sleep quality, but also boosts libido. However, it's important to avoid intense workouts right before bed, as this can have the opposite effect. Secondly, proper nutrition. Foods rich in tryptophan, like turkey, milk, and bananas, promote the production of serotonin and melatonin, which improves sleep. Foods high in zinc and vitamin E, seafood, nuts, can boost libido. Third, stress management. Relaxation techniques like meditation or deep breathing can help lower stress levels, which is good for both sleep and sex life. Lastly, creating the right bedroom environment. A comfortable bed, nice sheets, optimal temperature, and lack of distractions are important for both good sleep and intimate life.
Well, these scientific facts are really interesting, but I'd like to share my personal experience with sleep and relationships. You know, all these scientific facts are really interesting, but I'd like to share my personal experience. When my husband and I first got married, we often argued because of our different sleep schedules. I'm an early bird and he's a night owl. I wanted intimacy in the morning. He preferred evenings. But then we talked and decided to find a compromise. We started planning us time during hours when we both feel energetic. And you know what? This not only improved our intimate life, but also helped us sleep better. I've also noticed that sleep quality affects our mood and relationship. When we're both well rested, we're less irritable and smile at each other more. This, in turn, creates a more romantic atmosphere. And lastly, don't underestimate the power of cuddling. Even if you're too tired for sex, just hug your partner before sleep. It helps relax and improve sleep quality for both of you.
All right, folks, we're diving into an important but not so pleasant topic: sleep disorders. Who among us hasn't tossed and turned all night or woken up in a cold sweat? But as it turns out, sleep problems can be a lot more serious and diverse than we might think. Let's break down the different types of sleep disorders and how to tackle them.
Sleep disorders, or parasomnias, cover a wide range of conditions that can seriously impact our quality of life. Let's start with the most common one: insomnia. Insomnia isn't just having trouble falling asleep. It can show up as difficulty falling asleep, frequent nighttime wake-ups, or waking up too early in the morning. If these issues happen at least 3 times a week for 3 months, we're looking at chronic insomnia. Insomnia can be caused by various factors: stress, an irregular sleep schedule, certain medical conditions, or even some medications. It's crucial to understand that insomnia isn't just an inconvenience. It's a serious condition that can lead to health problems, decreased productivity, and even depression. Another common sleep disorder is obstructive sleep apnea. With this condition, a person repeatedly stops breathing during sleep because their upper airway relaxes and collapses. This can happen dozens or even hundreds of times a night, causing oxygen deprivation and disrupting sleep patterns. People with sleep apnea often snore, wake up gasping for air, and feel sleepy during the day. Narcolepsy is another serious sleep disorder. People with narcolepsy can suddenly fall asleep at any time of day, even during active tasks. This is related to a dysfunction in the brain's sleep-wake cycle regulation. Restless leg syndrome is a condition where people experience uncomfortable sensations in their legs, especially in the evening and at night, making it hard to fall asleep. It's often accompanied by an irresistible urge to move the legs. Finally, we have parasomnias, a group of disorders involving abnormal movements or behaviors during sleep. These include sleepwalking, night terrors, nightmares, and even strange behaviors like sleep eating.
Dr. Johnson gave an excellent overview of the main sleep disorders. I'd like to delve deeper into some of these and discuss modern diagnostic methods and treatments. Let's start with sleep apnea. This is indeed a serious condition that can lead to cardiovascular diseases, strokes, and even sudden death during sleep. We can diagnose sleep apnea using polysomnography, a comprehensive sleep study. Treatment often involves using a CPAP machine, which creates continuous positive airway pressure to keep the airways open. As for narcolepsy, it's often underestimated. People with narcolepsy can experience what we call cataplexy attacks, sudden loss of muscle tone. These can be dangerous if they happen, say, while driving. Narcolepsy treatment usually includes medications to promote wakefulness and strict adherence to a sleep schedule. Interestingly, some sleep disorders can be linked to neurodegenerative diseases. For example, REM sleep behavior disorder, where a person acts out their dreams by moving in their sleep, can be an early sign of Parkinson's disease. It's important to remember that many sleep disorders are treatable. Don't dismiss them as trivial or inevitable. If you're experiencing sleep problems, make sure to consult a specialist.
I'd like to highlight the psychological aspects of sleep disorders, especially insomnia. Often sleep problems are linked to anxiety, stress, or depression. Interestingly, sometimes the very thought that you can't sleep can make the problem worse. We call this a sleep anxiety, or insomnia phobia. A person becomes so afraid of not being able to sleep that it actually prevents them from falling asleep. It's a vicious cycle. In such cases, cognitive behavioral therapy can be helpful. It helps change negative thoughts and behaviors related to sleep. For instance, we teach people not to lie in bed awake for more than 20 minutes, but to get up and do a calm activity until they feel sleepy again. Another crucial point is sleep hygiene. Many people underestimate the importance of a regular sleep schedule. avoiding gadgets before bedtime, and creating the right bedroom environment. Sometimes, simple changes in these areas can significantly improve sleep quality. As for nightmares, they can be a symptom of post-traumatic stress disorder. In such cases, it's important to work not only on improving sleep, but also on overcoming the traumatic experience.
Thanks to our experts for such a detailed discussion about sleep disorders. Now we know that sleep problems aren't just an inconvenience, but serious conditions that require attention and treatment. I hope this information will help our viewers better understand their sleep and seek help when needed. Now, we're moving on to our next topic: how modern technology affects our sleep. Stay tuned, folks. It's gonna be eye-opening. Folks, we're living in some pretty wild times. Technology's evolving faster than you can say smartphone, and it's changing our lives in ways we never imagined. But how's all this affecting our shut-eye? Let's dive into the sleep challenges we're facing in the 21st century and figure out how to adapt to these changes.
Picture your brain as a computer that needs a reboot every night. But in today's world, we're keeping this computer on 24/7, constantly downloading new information. No wonder the system's starting to glitch. One of the biggest culprits is the blue light from our gadgets. This light tricks our brain into thinking it's still daytime. As a result, our body delays producing melatonin, the sleep hormone, making it harder to doze off. But it's not just about the light. Social media, video games, streaming services, all these create what we call digital FOMO, fear of missing out. We're scared of missing an important message or a cool post, so we keep checking our phones even at night. Get this, 90% of people use electronic devices an hour before bed, and 75% sleep with their phone right next to them. It's like trying to fall asleep at a rock concert. Another modern challenge is the always-on work culture and dealing with different time zones. Our body clocks get thrown off when we're working late or chatting with colleagues halfway across the world at odd hours. But it's not all doom and gloom. Technology isn't just creating problems, it's offering solutions too. We've got sleep tracking apps, smart alarms that wake you up during your lightest sleep phase, and even pillows with built-in speakers for white noise.
Mike nailed it with how modern tech impacts our sleep. Now, let's talk about what we can do to protect our sleep in this digital world. First off, set a digital curfew. Put away your phone, tablet, and computer an hour or two before bed. If that's not possible, use apps or settings that reduce blue light on your screen. Second, create the right sleep environment. Your bedroom should be for sleep and intimacy only. No TVs, desks, or exercise equipment in the bedroom. Third, stick to a regular sleep schedule, even on weekends. Our bodies love rhythm and consistency. Fourth, get moving during the day. Physical activity helps regulate your body clock and improve sleep quality. Lastly, use technology wisely. There are plenty of apps that can help you relax before bed, like meditation or white noise apps. Remember, good sleep isn't a luxury. It's a necessity for health and productivity. Invest in your sleep like you'd invest in a new smartphone or computer.
As a business consultant, I often see executives and employees struggling with sleep deprivation. Many think success in business means sacrificing sleep, but that's a dangerous myth. Studies show that lack of sleep reduces productivity, impairs decision-making, and can even lead to financial losses. One study found that companies whose CEOs slept less than 6 hours a night performed worse in the stock market. That's why many forward-thinking companies are now investing in their employees' sleep. Some offices have nap pods where employees can catch a quick snooze during lunch breaks. Others offer training on sleep and stress management. Interestingly, some companies are even introducing right-to-disconnect policies, banning work emails after certain hours. My advice to leaders: treat sleep as a crucial business resource. A well-rested employee is more efficient, creative, and makes fewer mistakes. It's good for business.
I'd like to highlight the psychological aspect of how modern technology affects sleep. Many people use gadgets to distract themselves from anxious thoughts before bed, but ironically, this often increases anxiety and makes it harder to fall asleep. Instead of scrolling through social media, try mindfulness practices or meditation before bed. It helps calm your mind and prepare for sleep. Another issue is the blurring of boundaries between work and personal life. When we're always connected, our brain can't fully switch off from work problems. It's important to set clear boundaries and times when you're not available for work. Lastly, don't underestimate the importance of face-to-face interaction. Spend time with family and friends without gadgets. It not only improves your relationships, but also helps you sleep better.
Well, I'll be. Who would have thought our beloved gadgets could mess with our sleep so much? But the good news is we now know how to protect our sleep in this modern world. Thanks to our experts for these valuable tips. Now we're moving on to our next topic, myths and facts about sleep. Stay tuned, folks. It's going to be eye-opening. All right, folks, we're diving into a topic where scientific facts often get tangled up with myths and misconceptions. I'm talking about sleep. Today we're going to separate fact from fiction and figure out what we really know about catching those Z's. Our experts are here to help us navigate this tricky terrain.
Let's kick things off with the most common myth. You only need 5 hours of sleep. This isn't just false, it's downright dangerous. Research shows that most adults need 7 to 9 hours of sleep for optimal functioning. Myth number 2, you can catch up on sleep on the weekends. Sorry to burst your bubble, but our bodies don't work that way. You can't make up for regular sleep deprivation by sleeping in on weekends. It's like trying to eat for a whole week in one sitting. Here's another popular myth. Snoring is just a harmless habit. Actually, snoring can be a symptom of a serious condition called sleep apnea, which can lead to heart problems. Now, here's an interesting fact. Did you know we're actually paralyzed during sleep? It's true. During REM sleep, our bodies are temporarily paralyzed to prevent us from acting out our dreams. And finally, the myth that alcohol helps you sleep. Sure, it might help you doze off faster, but it seriously messes with your sleep structure, making it shallow and fragmented.
Mike's done a great job busting some myths. Let me add a few more important points. You'll often hear that your brain rests during sleep. That's not quite right. Your brain is very active during sleep, just in a different way than when you're awake. Sleep is when crucial information processing and brain detoxification happen. Another common myth, the longer you sleep, the better. In reality, regularly sleeping too much, more than 9 to 10 hours, can be a sign of health problems and even increase the risk of early death. Here's an interesting fact. We don't only dream during REM sleep. Dreams can occur in other sleep stages too. We just don't remember them as often. Lastly, the myth that insomnia is always a psychological problem. In fact, insomnia can have many causes, from hormonal imbalances to medication side effects.
I'd like to address a few psychological myths about sleep. Many believe that if you can't sleep, you should lie in bed until sleep comes. Actually, this can make the problem worse. If you can't fall asleep within 20 to 30 minutes, it's better to get up and do something calming until you feel sleepy. Another myth, dreams always mean something. While some dreams may reflect our experiences, many are just random images created by our brain. Here's an interesting fact. Stress can actually change the color of our dreams. Studies show that people who've experienced trauma are more likely to have black and white dreams. Lastly, many think meditation before bed can interfere with sleep. In reality, proper meditation can significantly improve sleep quality.
You know, I used to believe in many of these myths. For example, I always thought warm milk before bed helps you sleep. Turns out it works more as a ritual than because of any special properties in the milk. I also believed in counting sheep to fall asleep. But that can actually be distracting. Instead, I now use a technique where I visualize a peaceful place and it works much better. Here's an interesting observation. I noticed it's harder for me to fall asleep during a full moon. I thought it was just superstition, but there are actually studies confirming the impact of lunar cycles on sleep. And finally, many people think snoring is a sign of deep sleep. But after my husband had a sleep study, we learned it could be a symptom of serious problems. Now we take snoring much more seriously.
Well, I'll be darned. So many interesting facts and busted myths. We'll definitely be thinking about our sleep more carefully from now on. Thanks to our experts for these valuable insights. Now we're heading into the final part of our show. We're going to talk about how all this knowledge about sleep can help us improve our health and quality of life. Stay tuned, folks. All right, folks, we're in the home stretch of our fascinating journey through the world of sleep. We've learned a ton of new and interesting stuff, but the big question remains, how can we use this knowledge to improve our lives? Let's hear from our experts one last time.
Sleep science has made huge strides in recent decades. We now know that sleep isn't just rest, but a complex and vital process that affects every aspect of our health. Recent studies show that chronic sleep deprivation can increase the risk of heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and even some types of cancer. On the flip side, good sleep boosts immunity, helps maintain a healthy weight, and may even slow down aging. The latest discoveries about the link between sleep and Alzheimer's are particularly exciting. It turns out that during deep sleep, the brain clears out toxic proteins associated with this disease. This opens up new possibilities for preventing and treating neurodegenerative disorders. We're also learning more about sleep's role in learning and memory. During sleep, the brain doesn't just store information, it reorganizes it, helping us find new solutions and ideas. That's why they say, sleep on it. I'm confident we'll see many more fascinating discoveries in sleep science in the coming years. And the more we learn about sleep, the clearer its key role in our health and well-being becomes.
The knowledge about sleep we've discussed today can be a real game changer for a healthy lifestyle. Here are some practical tips on how to use this information. Make sleep a priority. Plan your day so you have enough time for sleep. Create the right sleep environment. A dark, cool, and quiet bedroom is your best friend. Develop a bedtime routine. This helps your brain understand it's time to wind down. Watch your diet and physical activity. They directly affect sleep quality. Limit gadget use before bed. The blue light from screens can seriously mess with your sleep. Listen to your body. If you feel you need more or less sleep, don't ignore these signals. Remember, good sleep isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. When you invest in your sleep, you're investing in your health, productivity, and quality of life.
As a business consultant, I want to emphasize that the right approach to sleep can be your competitive advantage in your career and business. Studies show that well-rested people are more creative, better at problem solving, and make more balanced decisions. In today's world, where innovation and quick adaptation are valued, this can be key to success. Moreover, leaders who take care of their sleep are more emotionally stable and better at handling stress. This makes them more effective managers. I recommend all entrepreneurs and managers consider sleep as an important part of their business strategy. Invest in your sleep just like you invest in education or new technologies. Trust me, the returns will be just as good, if not better.
From a psychological perspective, healthy sleep is the foundation of emotional well-being and mental health. Lack of sleep can increase anxiety, depression, and other psychological issues. But it's not just about the quantity of sleep, it's also about our attitude towards it. It's important to learn to value your sleep, not to feel guilty for wasting time on rest. Remember, by resting, you become more effective and happier when you're awake. I also want to highlight the importance of dreams. They can be a tool for self-discovery and problem-solving. Don't ignore your dreams, especially recurring ones. They may carry important information from your subconscious. In conclusion, I want to say, treat your sleep with love and respect. It's not just a physiological need, but also a time for recovery, growth, and creativity.
You know, after everything we've learned today, I realized one important thing. Good sleep isn't selfish, it's taking care of yourself and your loved ones. When I'm well rested, I become the best version of myself. A more patient mom, a more attentive wife, more effective in my daily tasks. I'd like to share an observation. Since our whole family started paying more attention to sleep, our relationships have improved. We argue less, laugh more, and understand each other better. Turns out good sleep is also key to harmony in the family. And one more piece of advice for all parents. Teach your kids the importance of sleep from an early age. It's one of the most valuable skills we can pass on to them.
And that wraps up our fascinating journey into the world of sleep. We've learned why sleep is so important, how it works, and how to make it better. I hope this information will help you, dear viewers, improve the quality of your sleep and, therefore, the quality of your life. Remember, we don't spend a third of our lives asleep for nothing. It's the time when our body recovers, our brain processes information, and our subconscious works on solving problems. So, let's give our sleep the respect it deserves. Thanks for being with us. Here's wishing you pleasant and beneficial dreams.